Okay, so we've done all the base coats now. We're going to go on to colour. So again, just roll colour. I don't hold the pot in my hand, so then I have full control of the finger, sorry. So just place it somewhere nice and near to you. Again, take all the colour off one side of the brush and then just take a little bit onto the top there. Okay, so we're going back into the centre and pushing up. Getting as close to that cuticle as we can, but not on the cuticle. Nice and thin, because you're going to do two colours of coat, two coats of colour. So this one wants to be nice and even, but it doesn't have to be perfect at this stage. Again, pull the skin down. And then drag it back over to smooth it all out. And make sure you remove any of the edges, which you can do with an orange stick. Okay, pop that one in for me. Again, just 10 seconds each time until we get to the thumbs. Okay. Again, pushing up into the cuticle. Get a nice round edge. If you fan out the brush, if your client moves and it goes up into the cuticle, then again you just get your orange stick or your cuticle pusher. And just remove that before you cure it. Oh, and now I've put a finger in it. So just remember, any touching up of the nail is absolutely fine, just needs to be done before you cure. The biggest tip I can give with gels is just not to rush it. Again, pull the skin down. You can get down the edges and tip. And then smooth it back over. If you ever see any bits of fluff, make sure you remove that as well before you cure. Just going to try and get okay, pop that in for me. Okay. Be careful not to do your hand, please. Again, pulling down. Okay, so I've now started my second coat on these 3 fingers, and I'm still doing my second coat on here. So if I just bring it up a bit closer to you again, you can see how I've just placed it on the centre and then push it out into the cuticle and then drag down the sides first, pulling back with my other finger, just making sure you haven't got too much polish on the brush. You can always take this brush out and use a different manicure gel brush if there's one you prefer. Tip the edge and then drag it back down to smooth it all out and make sure we remove any from the edges. Lift up for me. Just before we cure. Okay, pop that one in for me. And then finally I'll show you the thumbs. So you could do both thumbs at the same time and they can lay it in like this, but I'm just going to show you with the one. It's mainly just so that when you're curing it's nice and flat, so you haven't got it like this and it builds up a ridge on the end. So again, in the centre, push it up. Into that cuticle with a nice straight line, or mirroring what cuticle they have. And down through the sides, down to the other side, and then tip off the edge. This one's very short. It's just really important to get that tip, smooth it back over, and then just clean up the edge. Okay, so we're going to ask our client to place it in. Okay, so we're now just doing the top coat, and I've done these 3 already, so I'm just finishing the last 2, well, last finger and thumb. So just scraping off so I've got a nice thin layer of top coat. And it's the top coat that you can use if you've got ridges in the nails and you just want to fill things in. You can use more. Again, make sure you're tipping off the edge of the top coat. Pop that in for me. And then I'll show you how you would do the thumbs. Which you can do singly or together. Okay, thank you. So with the thumb again, we're just going to get a small amount of top coat. Place it into the middle, push it up into the cuticle. Tip the edge. And then smooth it back over. Making sure you remove any hairs you can see and any excess on the skin. Okay, so if I lift this up, and I'm going to also turn this up to 30 now. If you can place your hand the other way so your thumb's nice and flat in there. Oh, and I've just pulled it down. So you feel like your thumb's nice and flat?
Very flat.
And then we're gonna pop it on for 30 seconds because obviously it's not had as long as the others, and then we'll put the whole hand in again just to make sure it's nice and cured. for the last 10. Okay, so flatten your hand out now, pop it all back in for me for the last 10 seconds. So that should all be nicely cured. And you'll know if it is when you come to cleaning it off. So we're going to get a nice lint-free pad and the gel cleanser. And you squeak over the nail to make sure that it's at this point you can see if any of the gel hasn't cured properly, if any of it's coming off, if any of it looks matte, it's not got the top coat on there, and you can go back in and sort it out now. There is some colours like reds that would still leave a little bit of colour on here, so don't worry if it does leave a little bit if you're doing a dark red or black. But you shouldn't get too much colour coming off on here if it's cured properly. I'm finishing off then with a nice bit of oil, which keeps the skin around the fingers nicely hydrated, especially because of what we've had to do to clean and prep the nail. It can dry out, so it's nice to just oil up the edges so that they aren't looking dry when they leave. And then I take a dry one just to buff up the nail itself so the gel is not oily and it's left nice and shiny. Okay, so there's our finished nails. I'll take a picture of them so you can see them as well. Okay, a little bit closer, but you can see how it's nicely evenly done. We're up to the cuticle, but we're not too close, and we've got a nice tip on there as well. Okay, any questions, just give me a shout.